And we're live! It's the Crypto Keeper here. We're back for another one of our live stream videos. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Wonderful work again, the homework that I gave everybody. Some brilliant pictures of your webs and for the insights that we're still getting from our Monday's video as well. So keep sending those in. I really enjoy looking through them all and seeing them. So good job, guys. Now, obviously, this week we started off doing the live streams and we were talking about insects to start with, overall arthropods, so different groups. So we started off with the insects, and then yesterday I showed you the spiders. So we're actually going to start off today. I'm going to finish off on arachnids because I did show you the spiders, but there is another couple of arachnids that I have that aren't spiders that are pretty cool, and I thought I've got to show you these guys because they're amazing, and that is the scorpions. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to move on to the last group of bugs and finish off on the bugs, so we're all ready to start on a new group of animals tomorrow. Okay, first of all I want to say happy birthday to Izzy. She's 11 today, so happy birthday to you. I hope you have a fun day and I hope you enjoy today's video. Okay, so we're going to have a look now at, here we go, scorpion. Okay, so scorpions are arachnids, similar to spiders. Obviously the fact that they've got 8 legs, but that's the only similarity that they have with the spider is the 6 legs. Sorry, the 8 legs. Everything else there's a lot different. Okay, their abdomen and thorax are all fused together like a spider, but the way that they hunt and catch and kill their prey are a lot different. So here we have, you can come in a little bit closer, Mackenzie. Here we go, can you still see it?
Yeah.
Okay, right, this here is our African flat rock scorpion. Now, flat rock scorpions are called flat rocks because they look all squished. It looks like somebody's taken a shoe and squished them. Now, he's up on his tippy toes because he's a little bit threatened. His tail's sitting slightly up. Usually the tail will sit flat and his claws will be down because these guys are designed to squeeze into tight rocks in gappy, in tight rock gaps in regions throughout Africa. Now, what makes them different to the spider, obviously, is they have these massive claws at the front, which they use to catch their prey. Now, the general rule with the scorpion is the bigger the scorpion, the bigger the claws, the less dangerous the stinging tail is. Okay, so you can see this guy's got quite big chunky claws. So if they had long thin claws, tiny claws, I'd be very wary of that stinging tail. You've got some pretty dangerous scorpions out in the world. But this one here, you can see it's got big claws, so I'm not really too bothered about the sting. Again, it would be quite uncomfortable if one was to sting. You'd be similar to getting stung by a bee. So I don't really want to get anywhere near. But this one, I'm a little more worried about the claws at the front there. Could give you a nasty nip. And what they do is they'll put their claws into little nook and crannies and they'll grab bugs. These guys mainly only eat bugs. And they'll crush their bug in their claw, and that generally kills it. They'll only really use their stinging tail for defense, or if the prey is maybe a little bit too big, they'll give it a sting to sedate it so they can carry on eating it. Because what they do is they actually have mouth parts. They don't have fangs like a spider, so they actually munch up their prey. So the claw will crush it, bring it up to their mouth, and they'll munch on it in their mouth. Okay. They have 2 eyes, and the eyes are on top of the head, right on top here. Eyesight, not the greatest, but you can still see relatively well. They have lots of fine hair all over their body as well, and this is what helps also detect vibration and movements as well. They're not such good climbers as spiders, and they also don't produce spider silk either. Another really cool thing about the scorpion is I want to show you guys is they also have the ability to glow in the dark. Now, it's quite light in here, but I have managed to rig myself up a little light box, and we're going to see if we can make this scorpion glow so you guys can see how, because it is pretty cool. But I'm not going to use our scorpion here. I've got another scorpion which I'm going to use for this one. Just before we say goodbye to this one though, she is a girl, and she actually gave birth to lots of tiny little scorpions a couple of years ago. Now I got this scorpion, and about 6 months later she gave birth to lots of tiny baby scorpions. I didn't even realise that she was expecting to have young. And it gave me a little bit of a surprise when I went into her enclosure, because what scorpions do is actually they carry their young on their back. And so there was all these tiny little scorpions on her back. And then once they left her, I had to remove them from the enclosure just in case she ate them. And actually ended up giving them away to a lot of other people that enjoy keeping animals like these. So that was exciting to see. So there we go. That is the African flat rock. So we're going to put her away. Hopefully she will go in for us. Come on. Come on. She doesn't want to go back. No, this way. Come on. Nipped by you. Come on. You go. There we go. Right. There we go. Right, so just give me a few seconds. So Mackenzie's just going to stay there with the camera. And we're going to set up this light box so you guys can see, because this is going to be pretty cool. So I'm going to put this down here, just to try and block as much of the light as possible. And then what I've got here is just a cardboard box. Inside. That's pretty dark. Okay, so what I'll do is, here's my other scorpion. This one I'm not going to take out of the box. This is an Asian forest scorpion. I'll get you have a closer look at him in a minute. These guys are found in Asia, so mainly places like Vietnam and Thailand. Mainly found in the rainforest there. So you can see that he's really dark in colour. So he's like a black. Big claws again, so I'm not really too worried about the stingy tail. So this one's a nice chunky scorpion. Best way to do it is probably this way. Right. So I'm going to cover him up in the dark. Hopefully this will work.
It's like a magic trick.
Yeah, slightly.
Slightly
like a magic trick. So Mackenzie's going to pass me over the camera. It's going to get a little bit wiggly here, guys. Just bear with me. Okay. Right, I'm going to take you off of the stand and I'm going to move you around. Right, now we're going to go in here. Now you can see that it's quite dark. Okay, I might need to move the box slightly forward a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see that. There we go, see if you can focus on there. Right, okay. Now on top I have a UV light. So I'm gonna turn the UV light on, and he's gonna change from black to a luminous green. So that is a UV light shining on. So it's just the same light that you get from the sun or a sunbed. So the light is purple, but it's turning the scorpion bright green. So can you guys see that all right? It seems to be showing up quite well on the screen. So hopefully you guys can see that too. So it's gone from being dark black to this, you know, a luminous green color, which is pretty cool. Now all scorpions do this. Your true species of scorpion that have the pinchers and the stinging tail. So whether they live in a desert or if they live in a rainforest environment, they'll glow in the dark. So if you have a UV torch and you shine it in, you'll see them glowing up like this. It's pretty cool. Now, scientists don't really know why they do this, but there has been some experiments, and some scientists actually put scorpions in tanks with one dark spot, and they covered up the scorpion's eyes, and the scorpion always managed to find the dark spot. So it's believed the exoskeleton, the armored shell that covers around, actually sources, you know, light or dark, because they do like to be in dark places. That's where they usually generally hide, and they'll hide away in the dark during the day, and at night time is when they'll come out. So there's a bit more. Lots of predators do eat scorpions. Obviously, places like the Sahara, where you've got like the meerkats do love eating scorpions, and they're very good at catching the scorpion without getting nipped or stung. So yeah, there we go. That is the Asian scorpion, which is pretty cool. So I'll turn the light off and you'll see it disappear. There we go. And I'm gonna put you guys back onto the stand. Give us 2 seconds. Right. Tripod here. It's gonna be a little bit wobbly again, guys. 2 seconds. It's still on here.
Yeah. Yep. So,
Everybody there? Everybody still there?
there
Good
was
job. Okay. So you take that. Stick it back on the chair there. Turn around. Okay, good.
It's a bit.
Watch the other leg.
This one?
That one there. That one.
I'm confused. Yeah, to the back.
You're squishing very
Okay.
important.
There we go.
There
There we go.
Okay, so that's our little light switch. So there we go. That is the Asian forest scorpion. So his name is actually Simpson Cheeks. He was a boy. So good. That's the scorpion. That's all the arachnids. We finish up with the arachnids. So spiders, scorpions, mites, and ticks are all scorpions. So 8-legged bugs. After the arachnids, we actually have the next group of bugs that have between 7 and 10 legs. Now, 7 and 10 legged bugs are an extra hard shell bug called crustacean. So the most crustacean you find in the sea, so that's things like crabs, lobster, and shrimp. But we can also find crustacean outside our earth, and they're called places. We call them places. Unfortunately, I don't have any giant slavers or crustaceans like crabs and things to show you guys. We're not going to know the crustacean, unfortunately. But you guys can Google crustaceans if you want and see what obviously what things like lobster look like, and shrimp, and also your wood lice. And you do get some pretty big called pill bugs, which are the same, similar to a wood louse, a bit bigger. So that's pretty cool. So that's the crustacean. Now we are going to look at the last group of arthropods, so the last group of bugs that have legs and also the hard outer shell. So you may be thinking, ooh, what could that be? And it is actually things like centipedes and millipedes. So they're what we call myropods, which means many feet in Latin. Okay, so we're going to have a look at ourselves a giant centipede. Now this one is already freaking me out a little bit because it's the only animal I have in my care that I have total respect for. Give it spiders any day, the scorpions, I'm totally happy with them. But giant centipedes, they do freak me out a little bit. And you'll see why. So here we go. So you want to come in a little bit closer, Mackenzie. Okay, you see him alright? Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that okay? Right, so here we go. This is my giant Asian centipede. Now, centipedes, obviously the word centipede means 100, so they do have up to about 100 legs, but usually it's down more 30 to 60 legs that they have. But they can have up to 100. There are many different species of centipede. The giant ones are the ones that you need to kind of look out for, because giant centipedes, they have the combined jaws of a scorpion and the fangs of a spider. They are quite venomous. This species of centipede here, which is found in places like Vietnam and Thailand, it is actually the only centipede on the planet that does actually have a death attributed to it. This centipede, not this exact one, but this species did actually bite a small girl on the head, and she did actually pass away. I believe she did have other medical problems, but it shows you that getting bit in the head one of these guys is not a really good thing. So I tend to keep my hands well away. As you can see, that it's not very good at climbing, so that's why it's in a nice tall enclosure. These guys can use their fangs to actually break open the plastic lid. So that's why I like to keep them in a nice tall enclosure, so there's less chance of them escaping. Don't want one of these guys getting out. Don't fancy catching it. If I was to get bitten, probably sore for about a week. Really, really nasty. These guys are quick and agile. Their legs are evenly displaced about their body to make them quick and agile, because they need to be quick and agile because they're actually a predator. They eat other bugs, but not just bugs. They can eat things that are almost the same size, if not bigger than them. They can tackle things like rodents, things like mice, and they can go for lizards. And they even discovered species of giant centipede hanging upside down on the cave ceilings in caves in Brazil, catching and eating bats. That's how cool and impressive these animals can be. Now, they'll actually use sheer power, and they'll just overrun their prey by just basically grabbing a hold with all its legs and wrapping itself around. They'll inject the venom with their fangs and then start eating away with their mouthpiece. Now, they do have antennae. You can see the antennae moving around, so that's why not only insects have antennae, myriapods and crustacean and myriapods both have antennae too. And so they're using to obviously feel himself away around. He's trying to get himself out of that tub, but we're not gonna let him out. They actually have 2 legs per section, so one at each side, and yeah, and these guys can also shed, because obviously they're an arthropod, so all arthropods can shed their exoskeleton, so these guys also shed their exoskeleton. Now we have centipedes here in our country. You guys can find them if you're out in the garden, and obviously nowhere near as big as these guys, but they're quite small and they're bright orange. Those ones can still give you a nasty bite as well, so just be careful if you are looking for centipedes in the garden. Alright, so there we go. Her name is Randall. This one here also freaked me out a couple of years ago when she actually gave birth. Those of you that follow my Facebook page might have seen a post a number of years back where I was obviously doing some feed-in, went in. She was coiled up and she was in a circle and she had all her little babies, well, eggs, and they were all in the middle there. And that kind of freaked me out a little bit, because I'm thinking dealing with one giant centipede is okay, but thousands of little baby ones, ooh, I wasn't quite sure. But I didn't panic. I thought it would be quite exciting to see what was going to go on. But unfortunately, over the days, I did do a lot of research, and I found that most of the time she does actually eat her own eggs, and that's what happened. She actually ate all the eggs, so I didn't get to see any baby centipedes, but that's what they often do. Alright, so that is Randall, the giant Asian centipede. You see her there? There we go. We'll say goodbye to her. Now obviously myriapods, the centipedes, but we also have the next and last group of myriapods, which are millipedes. Millipedes though, they're the friendly ones, so we can actually hold this one. It's a good chance that she's going to actually get a little bit scared. She's already in a bowl here, but we'll see. I'll maybe actually put her down on the table, and hopefully leaving her alone she might come out and have a little wander for us. Can you guys see that there? So this is Millie. Millie is a giant African black millipede. So they are actually the largest millipedes in the world. These guys are found in the likes of the Congo, so the rainforest in Africa. Now these guys are excellent biobugs. You might have remembered me talking about the cockroach, the Madagascar hissing cockroach at the start of the week, and how good they are at breaking down leaf litter. Well, these guys go one better, because these guys also eat rotting wood. So if a tree falls down in the forest, these guys start to get to work and they start breaking down all that wood. It does take many years to do this, but when you're a big millipede, it's a lot easier to do that, and you've got a lot of them as well. So they actually break down the wood and all the other leaf litter. And they also, because of the shape of their body, these guys are slow moving animals, and they've got loads and loads of legs. So they can actually, the shape of their body can allow them to go through the soil, a bit like a worm, and they'll take all the debris that they've broken up and they'll poop into the soil, so that they fertilise it. So again, excellent biobugs. And again, we have millipedes here in our country. If you go out to do forest walks, you go off the trail, find bits of rotting wood. If you break it open, you're going to find the millipedes in there, and they're doing their job, what they're supposed to be doing, breaking up the trees. Now, these guys have on average between 300 to 600 legs. That's a lot of shoes. And so yeah, they actually grow their legs in obviously in the reason why I can't tell you the right amount of number of legs, because we have 300 to 600. The bigger, older ones have more legs than the younger, smaller ones, because as they grow a new section. So they actually grow 2 pairs of legs per section. So that's 4 legs as they get bigger. So obviously the older, bigger ones have more legs than the smaller, younger ones. All right. And yeah, I actually forgot. I should have told you a joke about the centipede. What do you get if you cross a centipede and a parrot? A walkie-talkie. So yeah, so that's the giant millipede. Now there can be these guys when you touch and handle them. You see, she's a little bit scared. I was kind of hoping she would come out and do a little walk for us, but it looks like she's just too scared. But they're very slow moving, and their legs moving like a wave, and it's pretty cool. When you touch them, they can actually secrete a lot of liquid onto your hand, which could be quite nasty if you get in your face or in your skin. It can sting you, and it's quite nasty. But it is a defense mechanism. They're basically pooping on you, but they're just trying to get rid of you. Leave them alone. There are actually some pretty poisonous millipedes out there. One of them is called the cyanide millipede, which actually does secrete cyanide, which is a toxic that can be fatal to humans. But they're bright in colour, almost like a rainbow, just to warn off basically birds and things to leave them be and not touch them. Oh, it looks like she's going to come out and have a little wander for us. Here she goes. Come on, Millie. Where are you going to go? So you can see again she's got antennae. So she'll use her antennae to feel around. And she also has lots of tiny little mites climbing on her. I can see a few. You guys are not going to be able to pick that up, unfortunately, but she's got lots of tiny little mites. Now these mites, they're doing a job for her. They're not actually hurting her, and they're actually getting a free ride, safety of her body, and they're cleaning her. So because she's in amongst the soil, she can get pretty dirty. She's got all those legs, so those little mites will help clean her and get rid of them all. She seems to be chasing her tail. She's running in circles. There we go, yeah. Millipedes are fascinating creatures. And again, these guys dig themselves underground, and that's where they change their exoskeleton. So they dig. So sometimes I don't get to see her. Luckily, when I went in to take her out to show you guys, she was on top. So she was eating a bit of cucumber, which she enjoys. If she had dug herself underground, I'd have to leave her be, because that means she's changing her exoskeleton. But luckily for us, she decided to stay on top so we could see her, which is pretty cool. So her name's Millie. Millie the millipede. So yeah, cool. So that's your myriapods. And that is all of the arthropods. So we've managed to cover, so far this week, all the arthropods. Insects, 6 legs. Arachnid, 8 legs. Crustacean, between 7 to 10 legs. And the myriapods, 60 to 100 legs, or 60 to 600 legs, with the millipedes as well. So that's all your arthropods. So remember, jointed legs and a hard outer shell. So we'll say goodbye to Millie. Put her back into her tub for now. Hey, Millie, please don't poop on me. There we go. Right, so that's Millie. So we actually have more bugs, yeah? The arthropods make up the largest group of bugs on the planet. But we still have more bugs, and these bugs don't have any legs at all. And you mainly find these in your garden. Things like worms and snails and slugs. Back to my whiteboard. Here's today's drawing, my snail. Right, so snails are what we call, well, belong to a soft-bodied group of animals that are called mollusks, which means soft-bodied. Now, they are the second largest group of bugs on our planet, or inverts, mollusks. Now, soft-bodied animals don't just include slugs, but things like octopus and squid. So we can break the snails down into a different group, which are called gastropods, which comes from a Greek word, gastropoda, which roughly translates to stomach foot. Now, these guys don't have any legs. They have one long foot, and that's how they move around. Now, you can see that here, they've got like what you think are two antennae. Now, these aren't called antennae, they're actually called tentacles, just like an octopus. They have actually two sets of tentacles. They have the upper tentacles, which are their eyes, and they have the lower tentacles, which are basically what they feel when they're on plants and things they can munch to. And so obviously slugs are in the same category, and snails and slugs are gastropods. I do have some snails to show me. I was a little bit worried because the snails that I have, they all kind of, this time of year, they're still waking up as they do hibernate through the winter, even my giant snails. And I was a little bit worried, but I noticed there's two of them, I think they work well. So hopefully see, I know that Gary, one, big Gary, will probably hide anyway. We'll try and see if we can have a look at Gary. So it looks like big Gary is holding on to little Gary.
Gary Junior.
Gary Junior. Let me take out big Gary first. And I'm going to hang away. Come here, Gary. So there you go. This is Gary. And Gary is my giant African land snail. This is the largest land snails on the planet. Now, these guys have a shell on their back. Now, this is the snail's hope. They can go all the way up inside that shell. Way up there. And they usually do this during the day when it's too hot. Nighttime when it's cooler, or during the rainy season, they will go out to their shell. But they can't leave the shell. The shell is always attached to their body. Now, should a snail shell break, there's a good chance that snail will die. Now, there are a lot of people, maybe, children, maybe, but I've seen snails not chance. No, that's not a snail, that's a slug. Slugs never have a shell, they never will have a shell. It's not a snail for a new home. So these guys are born with a shell, and it grows as they grow. They are from the day they're born to the day they die, they never stop growing. Now, they are classed as pests. People don't like them because they come into your garden and eat all your plants and all your vegetables. But it's not all bad news. There are some people that really enjoy snails. Kids, I don't mind. Mackenzie used to be in the garden, used to catch snails all the time and put them on, take them off the walls and put them in little boxes and make little gardens for them. There's also one whole nation that loves the snail, and they're called the French, and they like to eat snails. Why do French people eat snails? It's because they don't like fast food. Also, Japanese scientists, they discovered that snail slime is actually really good for your skin. So you can actually pay for treatment. You can go to places in Asia, you can go to clinics, you can lie down on a table and they put baby snails on your face. These snails slither around, leaving slime all over your face, keeps your skin nice and young and fresh, stops you getting wrinkles, stops the aging process. So I thought, that's a really good idea. So now every night before I go to my bed, Gary, he goes on my face. Now you guys might think that's a bit weird, but I think it's working because I'm actually 74 years old. Now we're not going to put a snail on our face. Gary's been a little bit antisocial. As you can see, he's hiding away a little bit. He's not. I thought he might have come out and said hello to us, but he's not. If you look up here, this guy, he's Gary Jr. He's looking like he wants to come out and say hello. So what we'll do is we'll have a little close at him, look at him because he's coming out. So hopefully when I pick him up here, he won't shy away and go back into his shell. You can see this one's a different colour to the other Gary. These are actually a different species of giant African snail. But as you can see, so if you can come in a bit closer, Mackenzie. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming.
As far as we can go.
Right, so you can see in there. So there we go. You can see the top tentacles here, his eyes, and the lower tentacles here at the bottom. Where they munch. Their mouth is right here, and it's basically like a triangle shape. Now, snails have on average 20,000 teeth. So that's a lot of teeth for munching through your plants. When they're on a feeling on my hand, sometimes they do like to bite, and it's not sore. It feels a bit like sandpaper, quite bristly when he's trying to brunch, but their teeth's not strong enough to bite through human skin. But he obviously likes the feel of my hand and thinks, oh, this could be quite tasty, but it doesn't. It's not capable of obviously eating my hand. Now, I used to have a friend, and he used to actually race snails, and he used to enter them into competitions all over the world, and he never won. The snails were always too slow, and he was like, I always try to think of ways of making a snail faster. So one day he said to me, I thought, you know what, I'm going to take its shell off. So he did, took the shell off. Didn't work, just made it a bit sluggish. So there we go. I can give you a fun fact about snails. This is the fact that kids always love to hear, and that is snails, they actually poop the same colour as what they eat. So if you give a snail a tomato, his poop will be red. And if you give him a cucumber, his poop will be green. And if you feed him Skittles, he'll poop rainbows. So there we go. That is Gary, the giant African land snail. Now you guys, I should have said at the start, obviously the questions that you guys have given me, I can't see them just now, but I will try and answer as many as you can. Also, give us a comment. Tell us where you're watching from, because it'd be really interesting to see if it's not just kids from the northeast that are tuning in. So I'd love to see where you're from, and see how far our videos are travelling, and you guys are enjoying them. I'm going to set you some more homework now, because we've been talking about bugs all week, from the start. We're kind of finished with the bugs now. So I thought a good drawing task would be if you guys could take all the bugs that I've talked about, so the different attributes that these bugs have, and if you could make yourself a super bug, what would it look like? So you can design your own bug. You'll be free to use all the abilities that these animals have to create your own super bug, which would be pretty cool to see what you guys come up with as well. I'm also going to give you some maths homework as well. So this is more for the older ones, but if the younger ones want to give it a try as well. And I thought, because we were talking about the centipede and the millipede and how they have all those legs, if you guys could do the centipede obviously has one set of legs, that's two legs each segment. So if you guys could do your 2 times table for me, you write that down. And then also the millipede, they have 4 legs, 2 sets per section, so that's 4 legs. Do your 4 times table too, and then that way we could do a little bit of maths, which would be quite fun. All right, so there we go. That is all the animals we're going to see today. Tomorrow is going to be really fun because we're going to go and see some reptiles tomorrow. So I hope you guys can tune into that, and I'll start off with the reptiles as we move into the weekend. So there we go. That's Gary Jr. That's Big Gary. He's coming out to say goodbye. I'm the critter keeper. We'll say goodbye. Oh, it's touching my hands. Ugh.
Dad, we're still alive.
Oh, yay, snails are great. See ya.